Welcome back to SNG Weekly, everyone. This week we're going to do things a little differently because I need to get, or I should say we need to get, the various parts and props and things we need for our movie, Martians Attack SNG, made. So I've designed my somewhat controversial spacecraft, which is in a steampunk fashion, of which I want to talk to you about just briefly, and that is that keep in mind you haven't read the script. I'm not going to tell you what's in the script, and I'm not going to show you the script because it'll give away the twist, it'll give away the plot, it'll give away the little surprises. And the steampunk part of it has something to do with that. So you might be thinking, I'm just making it steampunk for the heck of it, but actually there's a very good reason for it that'll become apparent when you see the movie. So I'm going to build that spacecraft this week. I probably won't finish it this week, but I'll get pretty darn far. And I'm going to show you blow by blow how I'm doing that as a scratch-built project. Now that is to say that everything on that ship is going to be made by these hands and this brain. I don't think I'm going to use anything from off the shelf. I'm going to vacuum form and make and cut and sculpt every single part of it because I love doing that. That's the real art of it. So in addition, we're going to show you how we core the Mars Attack Martian alien sculpture I did. Now that means that we need a core to displace the material that will become the stretchy movie rubbery skin that it's going to have on it. Excuse me while I wipe my nose. Allergies. And you're going to see how that's done, and it'll start to become more apparent to you what's going on. And we're going to get the mold cleaned out this week, and hopefully next week we're going to run a silicone skin from there and make the underskull. But you're going to see how the core is made and how that mold's finished off. So we're going to be doing that. We're also going to show the Spock ear molds being opened up. I'm working on the perks slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, all our backers who got perks, you're going to get them. I'm just going to get to them bit by bit. Simon, your bust is going to be done this week, and you'll be able to see how lovely that comes out. I had something else I wanted to talk to. Oh, yes. Mary and I have decided to bring back the 47-part series of the making of the Enterprise. Now, the music that's on there is not the music we got in trouble over with for YouTube. For those of you who don't know the story, the short story is we bought music from Pond 5 legally, free, royalty-free music. It turned out, and YouTube recommends these people right there on their right the very video that they sent me an email saying you're in copyright violation for is Pond 5, which is where I got it from. Turns out the composer found out his music was being sold on Pond 5. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was obvious, okay? It was a Corvette that was red, now it's blue. I mean, it's that kind of obvious. Someone had remixed his music and sold it to Pond 5. Pond 5 thought they had the rights to it, and we put it on the end of over 500 videos. And this is why the videos disappeared. So, but I digress. Back to the original subject. We are going to bring back all 47 episodes of the making of the Enterprise. You'll get to see, blow by blow, how I made that Enterprise, except for the actual tool making part, which you can go to my website and see that. All the photographs are there. Oh no, they're not going to be on YouTube. They're going to be on Daily Motion. And we will look into fixing some of the older ones and removing that music from the end and maybe putting some of those back as well. But we're going to group them together so that you can actually see this is how we made the Time Machine, this is how we made Doug Drexler's Seaview, and so on and so forth. So that is in the works, and we started with, of course, this girl right here because I know a lot of you want to see this, how this was done. So we're going to do that. That's going to do it for us for right now. Let's get on with the show. Time to core the Martian mold, and what I'm doing is I'm taking the layup clay, the white clay as it's called, even though it's gray, they call it white, and I'm laying it up inside the mold. Now what I'm trying to replicate here is the rubber. In other words, when this gets opened up, this is going to, after the material's been put inside, there's going to be a rubber skin. And we're looking at it. I'm making it in clay. Some people have a hard time getting their head around this, but I'm making a core. And this will approximate the thickness of the rubber or silicone, whatever it was we use. And I'm going to put the two halves of the mold together and blend the seams as best I can. It's hard to do through that little narrow neck. I may not at all, which is why I'm bringing it up so high. This will all get smoothed out, you know, with a brush here in a bit. I'm being very careful up here around the eyes to make sure the lids are nice and thin and that this area is nice and thin for brow movement. Basically, you just fill this stuff in with the water-based clay. The mold's not fully cleaned out. I figured what's the point until we get this clay in there as well. The cheeks aren't going to be moving, so I really don't care about the thickness there, but basically this will make a stone. We're going to pour stone inside this mold after the two halves have been put together, and it will make this displacement core, as we call it. It's a core. From the core, once it's shaped up a bit after being taken out of here, we'll also make a silicone mold off of that so that I can make a fiberglass representation of the core, which we call the underskull. And this is what we use to mount servos on and cut away sections of it and attach it to the foam so that it actually moves. The foam, or I'm pretty sure I'm going to use silicone on this. I bought silicone for this. As I put this in here, you'll be able to just make out the eyes where they're closed, the separation of that, so that I know that I'm nice and thin. You can see it just there. So we'll get good eyelids. Now I have to do this. I've lost my eye orbit somewhere. It's in there. All the way through. There it is. And then we'll put the two sides together and we'll come and take a look at this at that point. So I got these down in here to get the orbits back.
What did you use?
Just the wooden balls I used for the eyes originally, just so that I know exactly where these go. I can feel the eyelids where they're closed right there. And I'll be able to clean this up further once I get it out of stone and really shape it, but we just need the basic shape in there. And this will give us a nice, evenly thin in the right areas core. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and there's that side there, I'm going to take these two sides and I'm going to put them together, and hopefully this will kind of smash into itself, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get inside there. Closes. And it did, as you can see, butt up against itself rather well. And now I just can smooth this together like so. I wish I could get inside the head, but the neck is so narrow that I won't be able to do that. But I can get the neck pretty well closed off. And I'm pretty sure inside there that I got what I needed.
Rolling.
So we got some pretty watery, thin ultracal, and we're going to pour it right down in there. May need some more, maybe not. Okay, that went in pretty good. This is the original rod, which I've bent up and made pretty nasty condition, because what I'm looking to do is have it be rough so that the ultracal kind of clings onto it. We're going to put that in there though for reinforcement of the neck, and then we're going to pour the rest of this. And I think just to be really sure that we got this right, I'm going to kind of tap it to make sure it burps. I get a little trapped air anywhere. So I don't think we do. And I'll put the rest in. That floated up because it's got air in it. I may just need a little more to go in there. But that's going to harden up. And we're going to have ourselves a nice little core. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Okay, we're going to open this up. You can see this is all nice and hard. You know, it's hard enough to open, I think. It should open really easy. You still have to take your time. This is also the way we used to do clay presses at Dawn Post Studios. Molds be getting worn out, the production mold and stuff, or they'd want to refit the mask, do a better sculpture of it. So they take the mold, they pack clay into it and put some plaster into the middle of it, and then they break the mold off, and you'd end up with something that looks kind of like that. And then, you know, which meant you had a lot less to do. And this is great because now I can show you what is so important about this core. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. And you see how the thickness is on this. This is the thickness of our eyelid. That's how it will be when it comes out of the foam. So it will be able to slide over the eyeballs because it has the same shape on the back very smoothly and fold up into here to be open. That's why I sculpted them shut. See? It's nice and thin. And the same thing goes here. We'll be able to move the mouth and the lips. Make them snarl. So I'm going to have to take this off now in order to get this out of the mold. And we're getting this off. Unfortunately, it did crack down here. There was a large bubble in there or something, but we can easily fix that with a little bit more. It must have been a bubble or something, but it's very easily patched. And that is our underskull, and we will make a mold off of this and then pour up a plastic shell of this that will allow me to break away this area here, cut these out, put the real eyeballs in, and open up this here and hinge it so the jaw can open and close, and we can move the lips over the mouth. Got the core. The core still needs some fixing. I mean, just some sanding down and smoothing, but it's very strong now. I fixed that area there that broke. What's great about this core, as it is with all cores, Barry and I still need, and I say Barry and I, need to clean out this mold more next week before we can run any skins in it. But we will be running some skins in it real soon and painting them, and I'm going to make a silicone off this really quick, just the head, so I can make up the underskull. But this is how it works. We're going to put the silicone skin material in there, right? Okay? And then we're going to drop this down. Now this registers, these two round guys there, register right against those, and this line right here registers against this line right here, which is the parting of the mouth. And it fits in there rather well. Doesn't move. And you can see the displacement now that I've been talking about. Yes, I got to fill those bubbles in. And then this part here will close. I still need to rasp off and tidy up this a bit, but you'll get the idea. It closes like that. And so now it's got the silicone inside of it, and the silicone will be displaced by this all being pushed together, and it fills everything and cures. And when we open this mold up, we pull out a nice, like almost like a mask, a nice thin skin, and it's very flexible and can be moved very easily, so that we actually get facial expression out of this character. I'm using a bungee cord, and we want it to stay together over the weekend. Oh, and there you are. And that's that. So I figured we'd open these, huh? I've been sitting for a while. Always interesting opening these. You know, I should have marked where what was what, meaning that, okay, there it is, where the ear actually slides off. There we go. Okay, looks just like the other molds, and clay comes out really easy, except when it doesn't. There it goes. So now I have to clean this off, all this clay, and I need to get, that comes out really easy, and then we're going to take this tool here and fish the ear out, and there you go. We got a nice, really nice ear mold here. No bubbles in the back. Really, really nice. I'm so pleased with that. So if the rest of them come out that good, we're really in good shape here. Okay, that was Tammy's. That was a Glen ear. Okay, let's open Tammy next. They just, I mean, I don't even need to pry them. They come apart that easy. Another Glen. It's like a Glen guy, boy, I tell you. Alright, another way to get this material out of the ear. Really easy just to do that. Just lift right out. Come on out of there. Come on. Hey! I had a metal tool here a minute ago. There it is. For some reason this one blocked in there more, but it'll come out. There. Done. That's out. And I mean, with the silicone ear, it's just so much easier to get inside and see what the problems are, if there are any. There aren't. But you can see there's this nice little, that has to be chipped so it goes all the way out. I don't know how that happened. This nice little pocket that this just fits down in. And this is what really locks all together so they go together again. So we will come back and look at these in a moment after we get all the rest of the clay out and the rest of the ear open. So there I was at the, did I say so? There, yeah, I did. There I was at in Photoshop, and I was in Lightwave, and thinking, you know, I'm going to make this model, and I need it to be, I want to make it on this styrene here, because I have lots of it, thanks to Elliot Brown. Thanks, Elliot. And, you know, I'm looking at the picture over there, which is not showing right now. I was making a form in Photoshop and struggling with Photoshop and, you know, making things all equal and perfect. I said, this is ridiculous, you know. After watching that lovely program from SOS, Space Opera Society, about Mark and his wonderful work on Space 1999 and so many other models, you know, he talked about how he rarely did sketches and basically he would just get something in his mind and just make it happen. And that really struck me when I was watching that because, you know, I don't know if it's really a generational thing or it's just an artist thing, but I don't need no stinking computers to make a model when it comes down to it. And I'm not anti-computer. They're great tools, and when I really can't do something any other way, I'm going to use a computer. But it's ridiculous to really to make a scratch-built model when you can just do it with this pencil and a piece of paper. Yeah. Now, I know that there are people in the world that can't do it that way, and that's when the computers come in handy. But I don't need them. So I'm doing it this way. And what I'm doing is working from the picture over there. I'm looking at it, and I need, looking straight down, a template cut out of, well, first drawn on paper, because I need the top one, which I'm working on now, And I'm just doing it by hand, and I am using calipers, and I am using a ruler to keep things straight and on the straight and narrow. And then once I like what I'm seeing and it's pretty equal, I define it. And then I'm drilling a line. Rather than try to make both sides match perfectly in a drawing, it's very simple. Just fold it over at dead center, okay? And then cut with scissors, and you will get an equal match both sides. That's in fact what I'm doing. So I'm going to do the center one here, and there'll be one of these on the bottom as well, and the difference is there'll be like a big hole here, and that's where the engine's going to be. But this is, you know, a real easy way to scratch build a model. Just working with a pencil and some paper and some rulers, and you get in there by hand and you styrene and you make it happen. This is how it begins. What I've done is I've rubber cemented 2 pieces of thick styrene together that I got from Elliott Brown at Warm Plastics, warmplastic.com, no S. And I did rubber cement, of course, and cut these out, and then on the bandsaw, and then after that I went around and made them nice and smooth on the sides. It's not real critical because I'm going to be laying styrene over this edge here because there's a thickness about that much stacked between these two. But also it occurred to me that it would be really a good idea to make marks on here so I could line up, because I can see this on the styrene. I can line up this part so it's dead center to this piece here, because this piece in here is going to be raised up, and we're going to have bulkheads underneath it. All this will become really apparent shortly here as I move towards starting some assembly. So before I take this apart, I'm doing this, and then I have to cut this part here, and one for the top and one for the bottom, same way. In fact, it might even be possible just to cut it right out of here the way I'm doing it now. We'll see. Because after all, I don't need this in the center. But either way, I want this to be marked. Like so. This is so cool. I didn't show you the separation of the 2 pieces. But, you know, it's pretty routine. I just had rubber cement between these 2 pieces, and I separated it. And then you saw that I was scoring this. Well, as it turned out, that's all I had to do was score these, and what that did is allow me to just flex the styrene, because if you don't know, all you have to do is score styrene, and it will snap perfectly right on that line or curve or whatever you make. So I did that, and I got the bottom one and the top one. And then I went in here, and because I had this open hole here, and I cut a 1.5 inch strip of styrene, and I ran it along this way, and I marked where the bends were, and I used this X-Acto here tool to make a nice straight cut, and just snapped it, and they stays connected, and you can just bend them right in. And then I used, of course, the styrene glue. Which works very quickly, and as fast as CA, I was able to hold the stuff right in there and do that all the way around, as you can see, like so. And then I cut bulkheads. This is all styrene work. And I cut bulkheads, the right taper, the right height, and just, you know, so by the end of the day I could prove to myself that this was really going to work. I have to sand this more, basically come in here and sand the little ledge of the stuff that's hanging over, and it'll match that curve perfectly. You can see it's already starting to do that. Just a little bit of lip hanging over, not much. And I just laid in a piece of this really thin styrene I got from Elliott Brown of warmplastic.com, and I kind of pushed it in there, and I made a line there and a line back there, and I went underneath and got the curve there, went behind, got the curve there, and made it kind of oversized, glued it in and trimmed it, and it just fits perfectly, and the curve is just perfectly, and the concave is just perfect. So now I go around and do that all the way around, both top and bottom. The difference in the bottom is, of course, there won't be the sail or the sort of 20,000 leagues type of command module up there. This will have an opening down there that'll be oval shaped, and that'll be the engine. I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like yet. Originally I was thinking some plasma balls, but they're not bright enough, so I'm going to come up with something else. It'll hit me once I get there. But for now, I'm so pleased that this is going to work like this. It's very solid, very strong, and this sheeting is going to be a breeze to do. So hopefully by the end of the week, we're going to have pretty much most of the shape here, maybe even primered. Now lighting is going to be very simple. We're going to have an interior in there of sorts, and a couple of the Martians sitting inside the big bubble windows, and some little bit of details and things like that. But other than that, there's not going to be any of the lighting on it except from there in the engines. So this is going very, very well for a first day. So, you know, you figure, how the heck do you get a pattern to feed each one of the feet, yes, feet, I put my foot in there, to get each one of these? Well, I'm taking a piece of paper here like this, see? There's a pattern. Then I transfer it to this really thin, paper tissue thin, I don't know, this is probably what, 010 Elliot? This is from Elliot Brown of warmplastic.com. And imagine I've actually learned to leave the S off after a year. Warm plastic, and I cut it out, and it just magically fits right in there like that. Look at that. Isn't that marvelous, 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 wonderful thing? We got that to fit. And I mean, it really fits quite good. And I do a little tiny bit of overlap, and then I sand it, and it comes out like this. So what I do initially to make this life easier, is I kind of like, okay, that's where that goes, and let it sit there without sliding all around. In fact, I can do another one down here just to make sure that it doesn't slip or slide on me. Slipping in and sliding, and let's see. I got a little kind of overlappy-bappy thing there. Let's see if I can get rid of that. I think I can. Well, you know what? We're just gonna leave it, because I'll sand it down. It'll look like a wonderful weld line, and we're gonna just kind of put that down like that, because it keeps it pulled down into the curve. Now, just take a brush and this wonderful styrene glue, and make sure it's for styrene, not ABS, and glue it in. And with this really thin stuff, it goes really fast. Dunk. It's like that, see? Really, I wouldn't kid you. Now I do that. I run some down the seam here. It will run underneath pretty well. No overlap there, so that's good. I'm going to hit that bulkhead over here, and that will run it down that. In a second here, this will be glued. You see some bluing and some discoloring. That's coming from the pen I used. Before that, it was the pencil. Makes the glue all dirty and nasty looking, but it's still fine. I mean, you're going to paint this, right? I know I am. That's a pretty good seam. As you can see, this is really staying in place and not moving. And now I can go down here and remove this, because I know I've got that curve. See, it's holding even though it's not glued in. And get that underneath there, and it will just stick down like nobody's business. So get this down all the way into there, like so. Down it goes. We're going to pull this off and run some right here, and that's how we sheet one of these sections. I'm going to hold it here just for a second till it kicks off all the way. At the rate I'm going, I will have this all the way around before lunch. So I'm working on the top part now. I'm just kind of free-forming it. We've got all this is all sheeted, and it's sheeted very well, so I know the bottom's going to work fine. I've sort of trimmed up all this. I still have to sheet this, but it's coming along very, very well. Everything's conforming very well. This is going to tidy up. What I'm doing is I'm making paper patterns trying to figure out exactly how this is going to behave before I cut it out of plastic. And then I'll cut the actual parts and fit them on. But it's kind of a jigsaw puzzle at first. You want to figure out where things are going to go on paper first. And so it's going to taper to there. It looks like it's going to end right here. And there's going to be this little fold right in here. And I'm going to, bit by bit, I shape it out of paper so I don't waste styrene. Because paper's cheap. Sorry, trees. There we go. Like that. It's going to be the fold line. I mean, I sculpt. I'm a sculptor, so really when it comes to making something like this, I think in those same terms. I'm sculpting out of paper, I'm sculpting out of plastic, and I'm getting a look that I want to have. That's sort of it. Got a curve there, curve there. This needs to be straight. So I'm going to cut a piece out of plastic next and see if I can do the same things with that as I'm doing with this paper. Well, there's lots to do still. And you noticed I said, well, not and so. Oh. And I said, too. But this is taking me longer than I thought. I mean, here it is Wednesday, and this is all the far I've got. Usually I go faster than this, I think. But keep in mind, I think a lot of people think this is going to be flat on the bottom. No, it's not. It's going to have the same shape on the top as it has on the bottom as it has on the top, and an engine under there. But I really kind of wanted to get on with seeing how this is going to look. So in order to do that, I needed to construct this. Now, this was done using the same sort of style that I used to do all of this. And it was kind of origami. Did I say it right? Origami. Sorry, origami. Well, that's the European version. It took two tries, and then I realized that, okay, I can do this, and I did. And I got a little discrepancy there, but I don't have one there at all. See? Really. And then I had to figure out this. And Eric Nyquist, my dear friend Eric Nyquist, who always gives us the most interesting and most useful gifts, I have made so much fantastic use of that vacuum form because I don't want to use the big vacuum form that Kobe gave me and waste lots of plastic. I made up, I took a ball, cut it in half. It's a wooden ball, stuck it into the vacuum form, did that. This was an old piece of the Enterprise Master I used and vacuum formed over that to get this. And this fits right inside here, like so. And it fits so well, it actually stays put. Then with these, hey, those will go there. Beautiful. And then each one will get a little smaller going back here and a little less bubble, but it looked better in a taper. I had it without the taper, without them tapering out and getting smaller there. But what's nice is that they also, as this happens, they get equally pushed back. So that's going to look really, really cool. Now, again, how I did this is I did it with a paper pattern first, figured out how the paper folded together, how it fit flush on here. I still have a part to make here, which I'm probably just going to sculpt. And then the inside of this is been reinforced with Evercoat putty, which makes it really, really strong and ready to go. Now, these still need some work as far as how they're going to look. I want to cut more of them off, but I just wanted to get a gander at that. And that's going to work out well. And the other thing I'm going to do too, and if depending on how the time is here today, we might come back and take a look at this, is I'm going to make fillets. This was an idea Mary had because I actually drew something that can't be built because it's in 2D. And I needed to have these fillets here to flush out this feeling I have here in the model. I did a quick test with this, and I think it's going to work out really well. But we'll know in a minute, because I'm going to do that in a minute, and we'll come back and take a look at it. This is loosely put together. The fillets are going to work out really well. You can see that they actually curve this way and fit down here rather flush and nice. So that is going to work out really well, which makes it look more like this, because you see this curve right here I've got in here and there. That really couldn't have been done, not really, without having another web, another seam in there, right in here. So this approximates that rather well. I just put this piece of paper in there just so I'd get that same look over there. But you get the idea. This is going to shape up really well. I'm really pleased with how it's going. I've cut this down a bit. I'm probably going to cut it down a bit more. And it's going to really look different when it's made to look like brass. I'm going to make this part here on the lathe, and so we're going to make a nice fresh part for that. And of course the engine parts, which I haven't figured out yet, but like I said, once I get it in the bottom, I'll know what I'm going for. So that's going to do it on this model for this week, and we'll get back to this straight away starting the new week. And here you go, Simon, Papa. Thank you so much for backing Martians Attack SNG. We really appreciate it. And here's your perk. And we'll be getting the other perks done next week and sending those out. This will be one of the first ones to go out as soon as the epoxy that's been brushed onto the eyes dries. Well, that was a great week. We got a lot done. I should have the Martian spaceship done by next week. I need to build the bottom part of it, which I think some of you are under the impression it's going to be flat bottomed. It is not. It's going to have the same structure on the bottom, but it's going to be open, and there's going to be engines up in there. So you'll get to see that happen. I really don't think it looks that much like the Nautilus. I mean, it's got the two big eyes up front, and it's going to be brass and riveted. But if you actually look at the Nautilus, it's not. When I did the drawing, I was thinking of the Nautilus, absolutely. And again, within the script, there's a reason for that. But when you really put them side by side, no. The only thing, there's similar things, but no. You need to compare them. I'm looking at my big Nautilus sitting right there, and it's a lot different from that. But next week we're going to do also, we're going to hopefully get that Batman cowl out and paint that, and also a Batman cowl, Batwoman cowl. And hopefully we're going to run a skin too for the Martians. So next week's going to be pretty neat. You're going to see a lot of new stuff. And of course, I still have yet to go to build the Martian gun and start working on its body. So bit by bit, starting next week, you're going to see all these things happen. So thanks so much for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.